Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of today's guests, including Craig Button, we're trying to get a hold of Craig right now, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. An exciting spring and summer season awaits at the Bayside, including a soon-to-be-completed outdoor pool fully equipped with ocean view cabanas alongside the #1 ranked coffee shop in Parksville. It's the Bay Cafe, and it is just steps away. Call 250-248-8333 now to book your reservation and mention Donnie and Dolly for 10% off your nightly room rate. Also, be sure to grab some Donnie and Dolly merch now on sale at the Bayside. We got Craig? Okay. Joining us now, TSN Scouting Director. The latest Craigslist is out.
Yep.
Craig Button. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm doing really well. I mean, we're halfway through May. I just can't believe that when this part of the year, for me, April 1st, and I just go, okay, 3 months, we'll hit July 1st, and on July 2nd, I'll come up for air.
Yeah.
I'm halfway there. It's just amazing how quickly it unrolls.
Yeah. The finish line is right in front of you, Craig. Before we get into Craigslist, the vote for the TED, the Tempe Entertainment District, is being held today, or at least the results will be. I think it'll be released later tonight. If it goes against the Coyotes and against that arena, what do you think happens to that franchise, Greg?
Yeah, you know what, Donnie? It's a great question. And the owner, who's got a casino license and trying to build the arena around that casino and to build really an entertainment district, with the Coyotes being a big supporter. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know where he goes from here. I mean, obviously he has a plan. He feels strongly about putting an arena and an entertainment district in there. I was told on the weekend that the city of Phoenix is the one that are really trying to gum everything up, because they know with a new arena, with an entertainment district, and and everything that goes with a casino, that they're worried about losing revenue from acts that might not go to their arena.
Right.
So we see that in municipalities and whatnot, and but at the same time, I've also been told, and I'm not an insider, I'm not one. It's people that I trust that it feels like it will. So that there's just not enough real serious objections that would prevent it from going forward. It's just selfish interests that are right now, at the forefront, and they should pass. And it looks like hopefully there's a new arena. But if there's not, I don't know where they go from here, yeah. Donnie. I mean, we've seen the fits, the starts, the stops, the spurts for 2 decades. And, I would have to imagine that the NHL would have to look seriously at what the next steps would be for the franchise.
All right. Craigslist. It's out. And last week we talked about Swedish right-handed defenseman Axel Sandin Pellikka as a player the Canucks might grab at number 11. However, he's moved up to number 5 on your list. How come?
Well, it doesn't mean he won't be there at 11. I mean, one of the things, I'm not trying to predict the draft here. I'm trying to assess who I think the best players will be once they have the opportunity to play in the NHL 3 to 5 years when physical maturity takes it. But, I was really lucky, Donnie. You go try to find a highlight of him going end to end. Try to find a highlight of him having an Al McInnes booming slap shot, or, playing the game with an edge like Chris Pronger. He wasn't that type of player. But what Sergei Zubov did is he beat you up with his brain. I mean, there wasn't a play in any area of the game, in any zone against any player that he couldn't make. And I'm watching Axel Sandin Pellikka for the last 18 months. His progression has been significant. And watching him more and more and more, I don't like to just put out a name like Sergei Zubov as a type. I'm not saying he is Sergei Zubov, but that type of player who controls the game in every single regard. So when I see that type of defenseman that can control the game, that's why I have him in my top 5. I believe that he has every quality to be a top player. And when the game in the NHL is played, in an orderly fashion where you pick up your head, where everybody is at, you got to make plays quickly, you got to make plays under pressure. But Axel Sandin Pellikka, to me, does all of that. And like Sergei Zubov, don't ever underestimate how competitive they are. Still waters run deep. That was the case with Sergei. It's the same thing with Axel Sandin Pellikka.
Craig, at 11, where the Canucks pick you, I love it. You got Matthew Wood, big, huge kid out of Nanaimo, Victoria Grizzlies, University of Connecticut, one of the youngest players in the NCAA. What do you like about him?
You know what? Like a couple of, well, not a couple of things. There's a lot I like about Matthew Wood, and he's got this excellent skill package. I mean, he can skate, he can handle the puck, he can make plays. He's got this great range with his size. It's almost like he makes things look easy. Coincidentally, he playing at the University of Connecticut is also where Tage Thompson played, and I see some similarities. I see some similarities at the same stage of the game. Where, Tage needed some time to develop physically and get everything coordinated. I think Matthew is similar. Matthew is able to stretch opponents and stretch defenders and create opportunities for himself because he's got great hands. He's got great awareness in and around the net. And that size and length just keeps everybody at bay. I think he's got enormous potential once everything comes together physically. In my view, I don't think he'll be there at 11. I don't think he'll be there at 11 for the Vancouver Canucks. But that type of player, they don't come around. And, one of the things that's always impressed me about Matthew is that the harder the competition, he is a player that's always risen up to that level. It's not like the level as it became higher and more challenging that he had problems. He has risen to it in a big, significant way. A really, really good player. I talk about him like that, right? And you're probably going, Craig, you don't have him ranked high enough. That could be the case.
Craig, Kyle Dubas said yesterday that if he is still the GM of the Maple Leafs, he would trade somebody big, and he said he's open to anything. You talked about it last time you were on our show, but there could be some big changes in Toronto this summer, Craig?
Yeah, I think changes are necessary. One of the things, and you know how it is at this time of the year. Okay, who would you trade and everything? I know as a manager and being in management, I can't begin to tell you how many great trades we made in our own minds and our own offices. But you have counterparts out there that might not share the same views as you, right? So, one of the things that I think you really have to do is identify what you're looking to do. Listen, you want to trade Austin Matthews? Easy to do. You want to trade William Nylander? Easy to do. Mitch Marner? Easy to do. You can trade any number of players, but what you're ultimately trying to do is build your team. You're trying to build your team. So what does the team need? And what players, if you're considering trading them, what could they bring? And that becomes eye-opening. When you're a manager and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to phone this manager. I really think that this would be a good fit. And at the end of it, managers know it. And conversely, you get calls that might surprise you. And you go, okay, let's explore that a little bit. So it's easy to trade good players. And the Toronto Maple Leafs have lots of good players. The objective is, what do you want to do with your team and how do you want to build it? Think about the Tampa Bay Lightning and go back a few years when they traded JT Miller. JT Miller was a good player in Tampa, but they were looking to do some different things. So, they traded him for a first-round draft pick. And you start to look back and go, well, I mean, was that a good trade for the Tampa Bay Lightning in terms of getting a pick for JT Miller? Well, maybe not player for player, but it was with the objective of what they were trying to do in the bigger picture. And in a salary cap world, that's how you have to treat it. You want to trade those guys, you can. You might not get what makes your team better. And I think that is the caution that you have to proceed with when you're looking to make changes, because the wrong changes now, you might set your team even further back.
Yeah. They used that first-round draft pick, if I'm not mistaken, to get Blake Coleman, who helped them win a Stanley Cup. Right. And Blake goes on to Calgary.
Bingo.
Very, very, very quickly, Craig, Pete Deboer, we referred to this earlier, and I wanted to ask you this, but 7-0 in Game 7s. He's coached 5 teams since 2008. He's never out of a job. What's his gift as a head coach?
I think there's a lot of gifts that he has. I think that Peter is very clear in his direction. He's very clear in what he's looking for. Peter can also be to that point of uncompromising. Like, this is the way it's going to be, and if we're not going to play that way, we're going to have big problems. He commands a room. He commands a team. Now, that might also be the reason he's on his 5th team, or he's had so many teams since 2008 as well. But, when you're looking for a good coach, some coaches, like they're going to have a certain time frame to make the greatest impact on a team. And I think Peter has done that. And then that time frame, comes to an end and you move on. I think you just have to realize that. I think Peter realizes it. I think the Dallas Stars realized it when they hired him. But when you're looking for somebody to come in that is very exact in how he wants to play, commands a room, uncompromising, sometimes to a fault, but it gets results. When players hit that point and a team hits that point where they're going, okay, we're going to endure maybe a little bit more of authority, and I use that word from a coaching point of view to try to win. Players become accepting of that, and I think that's where Peter has real success. Pat Burns won Coach of the Year with 3 different teams. Mm-hmm. He lasted 3 years with all of them, but didn't mean he's a Hall of Fame coach. And I think Peter has a lot of those same qualities.
So, Craig, as we let you go here, you said earlier that the Craig's list isn't a prediction of the draft. Are you saying that NHL general managers don't look at your list and make a pick based on that? Like, I am shocked. I can't believe it.
Well, I can't share that, but I mean, I give the list goes to all the general managers, and that will be each team's final list. If you want to know what every team's list looks like in the NHL, it's an exact replication of mine.
That's what I thought.
So the Canucks are picking wood. The Canucks are picking wood.
Well, if everybody follows the script, Rick, that's the way it should be.
Good.
Craig, thanks for this. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great day.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks.